What was your name?
Yamanu.
Yamanu.
Yes.
Yamanu, why are you taking so many gems and minerals with you?
When I was a young offspring, I used to collect shiny rocks because I can see a little bit of energy. I actually had a vision when I touched the first gemstone that I ever touched, giving other people gemstones, and it made them happier people and healthier people. So from then on, I made it actually a part of my life mission to actually show people the power and value of gemstones. One of the main reasons why I put them on myself is because I utilize tuning forks quite often. This is a 963 hertz tuning fork from the solfeggio scale. And that vibration actually cleanses and heals your energy. And I utilize these tuning forks to actually imbue my body, my cells, and the gemstones that I wear. The gemstones support when I'm going down in vibration. They actually support the fluidity, weeding out sometimes negative energies.
Yamanu, what did you learn from life?
What I learned from life was that the vast experience that we're going through is completely imposed upon us by ourselves. We need to know how we affect people, why it affected them that way. We don't completely comprehend why we do things or what that's leading to. And at times, a thing that you do that you could perceivably see as something that you may not have should have done may likely have led to exactly what you needed to happen. So our life is relative, and we should be always grateful in every moment. Your ancestors are your most important connection to any parts of your spiritual growth. And I'm grateful for your ancestors for bringing us into contact, and for mine for allowing the contact.
For the Australopithecus grandfather,
For our common ancestors.
what do you like the most of life, of being alive?
The most of being alive is actually finding the ability to just be in the moment. We get taken out of our own personal state of awareness when we experience other people and environments. So the best, most joyous thing that I've ever found is actually the ability to actually recenter myself in those experiences, rather than constantly being swayed by those experiences over and over again.
What is the meaning of life according to you?
The meaning of life is to follow the true direction of your soul's progression. Because who you truly are on the inside and how you actually manifest that into the reality may not necessarily be in alignment with how we believe we should actually approach our existence. We've been taught by society that we should operate within a certain format, and it's good if you want to progress that functionality, because to a certain degree you need a systemic process, which in a sense can be robotic. The actual meaning of life is learning to follow the celestial energy, learning to follow your soul's progressive energy, and learning to follow your environmental circumstances, and mastering the ability to fluidly move through all of those experiences with the least amount of stress. And that's what I've found for myself is the meaning of life.
I find inspiring, interesting, and admiring the fact that you walk at your own style with your own way of doing things, and I noticed that you don't mind at all what people may think. How did you get that?
I guess that would have to go into a backstory, but the long story short is that when I was a youth, I could never fit in. I had this kind of energy that people could just see was different. So because I could never actually mesh with the actual experience of the societal functionality, I decided to go the opposite route and just exemplify who I truly am on the inside, and just allow people to see that, because I can't hide it. So
It's who you are.
and it just shines through, as does everybody else's. We are all full of what's called potential energy. And your aura, your energy field, and all of these things are actually kinetic manifestations of your potential energy. I can see that in everybody, and I know everybody can see that in me. So I can see the uniqueness and the truth of everybody. When I look at them, I see the light. And so really another part of me actually exemplifying myself is because I want other people to do the same. I want them to be free to be who they are. I'm not saying I would like them to throw on a bunch of gemstones, because it may bring attention that they don't want to deal with. However, I would like for them to be free to just dance whatever, and sing whatever notes they would like to sing. Do whatever things they would like to do in the attempt to be free and be the joyous person that they truly are inside.
Empower themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Give the power that we have, but that we don't always use.
Exactly.
How do you deal with those times in which people's reaction is not maybe a positive one?
The thing is that the imposition of one's own personal beingness upon another individual is actually usually the cause of those frequency distortions. When your energy remains in a certain vibration, such as 93663 hertz, or there's 432 hertz, 528 hertz, 417 hertz, 174 hertz. There's also 639 hertz. When your energy remains in those states of vibrations, it more easily weeds out energies that actually affect your vibration, and people, you tend to be aligned with better experiences. And anything that's kind of negative, you avoid it due to your alignment. If you follow what you feel inside is the way you should move according to your energy.
Yamanu, how do you see the world, man?
I just see potential. I see possibilities, and I see that everything is always within the format of our creation. We get the opportunity to do something every single moment. Even if you end up in a position where you see as the lowest low, anything that you can do moment to moment does build actually a frequency. And as it continuously builds that frequency, this cannot be destroyed.
Because energy is always transformed.
Exactly. Always transferred and transformed. And anything that you think someone takes from you must return to you. Mm-hmm. So as long as you tune into yourself and find the peace within yourself, it will return to you.
What would you like to transfer? What would you like to receive?
I would like to receive the divine blissfulness of my ancestral history, to know myself in its entirety, and to be able to live that truth 100% authentically with the least amount of stress. So, and to be in an environment that actually transmit that same kind of frequency.
And being energy is so important for you, as it should be for everyone. What are the things that make you feel the best energy?
The things that make me feel the best energy are actually these kinds of interactions. My biggest interest and my greatest satisfaction always comes from the ability to share frequency within my own personal boundaries and have the best time that I possibly can.
I'm going to ask you for a personal advice that I need. When I have negative thoughts or feelings, what would you recommend me to do? Because at times I do have them.
The methodology that I've utilized in order to deal with any kind of negative thought or the feeling was that I noticed that everything was systemically produced by a habit that I had. What habit do I have that I noticed that whenever I enact it, it produces these kind of thoughts? And then when those thoughts would happen, I would notice that I would have to replace that habit with a different kind of habit. I would immediately do push-ups. And then eventually, instead of negative thoughts, all energies that I experienced that could even lead to negativity just became push-ups.
You became very strong.
Yes, in a sense, yes. So you replace them with a habit, or you could have some kind of mantra, something that you say. You can actually cycle these mantras through your mind, and they actually calm your awareness.
So it's a constant practice of conscience and awareness, because you have to identify that negative thought and immediately do something about it.
Another thing that I noticed is that depending on what I eat, it produces a certain kind of consciousness within my awareness. And I've done a lot of different diets. The thing that I've noticed the most about that is that when I ate any food that was actually, let's say, not organic, so it was sprayed with pesticides or herbicides, negative thoughts were more easily produced in my frequency. And that's because the cellular structure in the body, sometimes it's important to think back to what you ate and think about maybe who touched it or what environment you were in. Anything that's in the foundation will be in the finished product.
I'm enjoying this a lot, man.
I am as well. I'm grateful for this experience.
What makes you feel emotional? Like I am right now.
I love it when people are doing well and they're okay and they're glowing. So that's what makes me feel the most emotional, I would say, is when I see other people glowing. You know. Yeah, that's the best kind of feeling, man.
It gives hope.
It does, man. It gives hope and it gives me strength, you know. There are people in the world who actually take good care of themselves. And they do go through a lot of things. So,
Do you think that sometimes pain is necessary to get to these processes?
I would say that what's necessary and what's unnecessary is relative to what it is that we choose within our pathway. And that pain is relative because everything is lifting a certain type of weight. So if you're a bodybuilder, then when you lift physical weights, 150 pounds may be extremely painful to somebody. But for you, it may just be, well, it's just me walking around, right? When you walk, actually, your body actually experiences tension and release over and over again. But it's just something normal and the body loves to move. So pain is actually truly relative to whether or not we actually are enjoying our pathway and we actually want to go in that direction. Because when we actually truly are adamant about going in a certain direction, we almost see anything that we experience as just something that's teaching us a true lesson that we needed to learn, and we love it all. Because we know it's going to lead to what we need, we know it's making us all stronger. So we just see it all like weightlifting.
What would you change of the world?
I would actually just eradicate all foods that have pesticides and herbicides because that would actually improve everybody's quality of life.
What would you change of society?
I think that it's important to allow people to actually alter their own state of beingness. Because if you try to change something, because society is an amalgamation of what people want, if you try to change what people want and what they do without their consent, they'll just go do it again. So it's important that a lot of the spiritual traditions are not trying to tell you what to do. They're just showing you alternative methods of living in alignment with earth and nature. So I would have places built like that.
Why sometimes it's so difficult to be ourselves, to be authentic, genuine?
Well, because we live in a society. We live in an experience that's actually induced by multiple states of conscious awareness. And so we sometimes have difficulty differentiating what's us and what's not us. We experience people's opinions. We experience what society is trying to sell us. We experience even trees, birds, everything it can make it difficult to know what you want, what you don't want, who you are, and what truly makes you who you are. It can be difficult. So the most important thing is just to recognize always that every single time we have an interaction, we actually center ourselves after that interaction. And that way, we can always return ourselves back to our truest essence. And that's knowing whether or not we're being our truest self.
In what ways can we be ourselves? How do you recommend to get that?
To be ourselves, what I did was I actually went into a state where I would meditate and I would meditate and I would meditate. So I would say 15 minutes of meditation before you get up out of the bed, like to go anywhere. and 15 minutes of meditation before you go to sleep would support greatly in that, because it tunes you into your own inner frequency.
Is there something that you didn't say that you would like to?
I think I've pretty much got it all. I'm just happy and grateful, brother.
Me too. I really enjoyed it. Thank you for the connection. Thank you for having the channel opened.
Yes.
And I will be very honored if you put this on me. This is your work, right?
It is. I'm a craftsman, and this is actually a bracelet that I made recently.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, my brother.
Have a nice way. The
It's
best wishes
beautiful.
for
Nice
you.
to meet you.
Nice to meet you.